guest today is Mr. Willy Cuason, who is a consultant. He has a consulting firm, Savant Solution, where he provides assistance and advises businesses in general. He is a seasoned lecturer in some of the most prestigious universities in the country, namely the De La Salle University, the College of St. Benilde, the Far Eastern University, and the University of Asia in the Pacific, to name a few. His area of expertise is in operations management, where he shares his 30 years of experience with his students, whether it be in the undergraduate or in the graduate level. He also holds key positions in many companies as a board member, where he helps in making decisions. Which leads us to today's topic, wherein we will talk about anything related to family business. What is it all about? What are its key unique features? Is there a difference between a family-owned business versus a non-family-owned business? What are some of the issues that a family business encounters, and how can they be addressed? So without further ado, thank you so much, Sir Willy, for joining me today. How are you
Thank you
doing,
for having
sir?
me, Sir Alvin.
Okay,
I'm
so
good. I'm good. I'm good.
thank you. So just to start off, sir, so in general, what is a family business?
When we talk about the family business, it's a simple characteristic of most of the family members are in key positions. That means upper management.
Okay.
Now, when I say most family members, that would be direct family members like brother, sister, parents, or cousins for that matter.
Okay.
Uh, Again, no, in terms of promotion, usually in family business, only blood relatives get promoted, usually
Okay.
to key positions. So that
Actually,
is what makes it so different from ordinary businesses.
yes. Actually, I did some research before having this
Mm.
interview, and based on researches and articles that I was surprised to find out that majority of businesses, not just in our country but in other parts of the region, that majority of companies, successful companies, are family owned, right?
Mm.
But
Mm.
there was some glaring statistics that I think everyone should know that
Mm.
you know even though family business is rampant in different parts of the world, very few family owned businesses tend to succeed into the succeeding
Correct.
generations,
Correct.
right? And
Correct. Correct.
the statistics was glaring. So out of, let's say, out of
Very.
10 family business, right, uh,
Mm.
out of those 10, typically only 30% succeed to the next generation. So out of 10 there, so only 3 would remain, right? And after that, the next
Mm.
generation, another 30% would
Mm.
succeed, which is roughly about
Mm.
1. So meaning, out of 10 businesses that started out, only 1 tends to
Mm.
survive, you know, in future generations, which is kind of ironic, right?
They,
And
they they have
yeah,
actually they have a scientific study which is very very depressing and very very difficult to accept. No, they have
yes,
a saying that the founder usually sets up the business, the second generation usually makes it bigger, makes it boom,
yes,
okay, and the third generation usually destroys it.
yes, yeah. So why do you
So
think so, sir? That's what happened in by the time it goes to the third generation.
the first, no, the second generation usually emulates the parents. So they
Okay.
would always want to make their parents happy. So they would want to copy what their parents are doing.
Okay.
The third generation, especially the generation today, they have their own mindset. They have their
Okay.
different needs and wants. So if you force them to take over the family business, having different needs and wants, they
Mm.
will either do it half-heartedly,
Yes.
or they will find some other businesses that they would set up. They would
Okay.
divide their attention between the family business and their own needs and
Okay.
wants. You will see that in most big businesses here in the Philippines. The second generation today in the Philippines are actually making the businesses big, but
Okay.
I'm scared what's going to happen when the third generation takes over.
Yes, actually,
Mm.
considering with the pandemic that's happening right now, so if your business is
Mm.
not fundamentally sound, you have an
Mm.
uphill battle, and apart from the
Mm.
struggles that a typical family business encounters. But what is it
Mm.
so enticing that many of the businesses are set up as a family owned? Is it simply because of the proximity of family members, or is there any other reason why you know businesses are typically family owned?
In our country, my analysis would be, since one of the strongest cultural trait in our country and in the most Asian countries is that family oriented culture.
Yes.
Okay? So when I say family oriented culture, number one, we're obligated to take care of the family. Number
Yeah.
two, we're obligated to sustain the family. Number
Yes.
three, we're obligated to follow the family.
Yes.
So consider all of those things. Okay? It's like an obligation to continue the legacy of our family. Basically,
Okay.
that's an unwritten rule. But most of uh, the Asians, they think like that. We
Yes.
are we are tasked to prolong the business of what our parents set up.
Yes. So do you see that as a advantage or as a weakness in terms of that mindset for prolonging the sustainability of the business?
Okay, most of the time people will answer both.
Okay, so that's a difficult
Most of the
question.
time,
Okay.
yeah, but ako, I personally, again, I think it's a weakness.
Okay.
It's a weakness. I don't see it as something like a strong cultural trait. It's, for me, it's actually makes us weaker, because
Okay.
most of the time when a person is just waiting to inherit the business,
Okay.
he becomes weak. He becomes
Okay.
weak. There is
Okay.
no struggle.
Okay.
So, again, just a more philosophical point of view of it. There
Okay.
is no sweetness in life when there is no struggle.
Oh
And
yes.
when you simply sit there and wait for your dad to give you the business
Yes.
without going through the blood and sweat and the heartaches of setting up or of being an entrepreneur, it
Yes.
takes away the build character building.
Mm.
There are two things that we, well, not all people, but usually there are two things that most sons or daughters lose whenever they go through this path of family business: credibility and marketability.
Okay.
Okay. When I say credibility, it's simply legitimate self confidence. Okay.
Okay.
That means you've already established, because of the years of, you have your own brand.
Okay.
Well, people know you to be a hard worker, to be an intelligent worker, and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Marketability is using the abilities that you've learned outside to be able to go from one company to another. But
Yes.
since you grew up in a family business, that's your world, that's your shelter, that's it.
Yes. Yes.
Outside the family business, you're nobody.
Yes, but what's interesting about it is even though you just mentioned all those points, but comparing a typical family-owned business versus a non-family owned, they tend to be more
Mm.
prosperous, right? Like with the
For a
case
family.
family-owned business, right? They tend to be
Mm,
more
mm,
profitable in the long run,
mm.
and they have these unique features that it's difficult to replicate in other types of business.
Yes, yes, yes.
Which is one of their key strengths.
Correct, correct. But you need to consider also the job holder.
Yes,
If
actually.
if the business is prosperous, the job holder is not.
Okay.
The person who's manning the business, they're not. Okay? From the outside, it looks like it's getting big,
Yes.
but the person running the business, they're not.
Okay.
That
But is
Okay. Typical Chinese culture. We're taught to be thrifty.
yes, yes, that's a
Okay,
given.
but in other cultures, they look at it as stingy.
Yes.
Okay, but it's
It's a
it's a
negative
matter of,
connotation. Yeah.
yes, but that that uh, that being thrifty would also mean saving on your salary.
Yes, actually. Yes, that's a big
So
problem.
that means you're actually paid below market rate
Get the-
when you work for
Yes.
the family,
Yes,
and you
yes.
don't get a day off. You
Yes.
don't get vacation leave, sick leave, and
Yes.
whatnot.
That
That's
ca-
usually how it works.
it typically comes with a job description, right? That's where
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
conflict of interest comes in because you're a employee as well as a family member, so you're
Correct,
expected to do
correct,
because typically it's the parents
correct,
who started the business, like you mentioned earlier.
correct,
So they've worked
correct,
so hard to establish the business to make it successful.
correct,
That's what they
correct,
expect. The same for their
correct,
children and
correct,
future generations,
correct,
which is
correct,
in a sense, it makes sense, but obviously different people have different perspectives.
correct,
So
correct,
the question is,
correct.
how would they, collaborate? Which is kind of what I experienced before.
Mm,
My dad
mm,
had the
mm,
business. I was supposed to follow in his footsteps, in a sense. So I did work for him for
mm,
some time, but there was conflict
mm,
between the two of us.
mm,
So I had
mm,
personal
mm,
experience. So obviously I'm not
mm,
in the business right now. I'm in the academe right now.
mm, mm,
So I
mm.
had to choose a different path because rather than butt heads with him all the time, I chose to leave.
Yes.
Obviously,
Mm,
if he's not going to change, he likes the way it is, the status quo. So I said to myself, do I do I have to wait until my hair is white already before I have an opportunity to flex my muscle, so to speak? And I think that's a common
mm.
case in other businesses, right? So,
Y-
it,
Especially in this country, that's the, how would I call this? That's the new business model now when it comes to family business.
yes,
You help your dad, and
yes,
then you fight with your dad, and
yes,
then you divorce yourself from your dad. I mean,
yes,
that's the thing that's
because
happening right now. Actually, that's exactly what happened to me. So,
I really so
and it works. Sorry, I mean, it works for me. It works.
yeah,
Uh, we the it's people have this misinterpretation that family business is a good thing. Okay, for some people, but like I
yes,
said, no, having something ready made for you is not exactly healthy.
yes,
It's like uh, going to school, but you're assured that you will never fail.
yeah, something like that. Yes,
So it's uh, I do feel that family business for is not exactly character strengthening in terms of the child. No?
yes.
But like I said, that's my opinion. Most people, they would actually go for the shortcut.
Actually,
They would
some
go
of it, yeah.
for
Actually,
yeah.
I was sold on that idea in my when I was younger. I was thinking, I like to do my part in helping
Mm,
my parents, continue the business, make it grow. That was my thinking, but they were satisfied
mm,
with maintaining the status quo, which is already conflicting with the core concept of what a business
correct.
should be. So, at the time when I was younger, you try to be, what they call this, uh, you try to follow their footsteps, as I mentioned earlier. But the
Yes,
difficulty
yes.
is, as you try to work together, you see different points of view
Mm,
surfacing, and I had to come to a point. By the time I reached my 30s, I'm still not sure what will happen with the business. So, I had to make a pivot right away at then. Otherwise, how can I start my own family if I have my own family and I have kids? What do I do? I'm still waiting hand and foot. There's no sense of
correct,
achievement, right? So,
correct,
like you
correct,
mentioned, you
correct.
did not work hard for it. So, it's given to you, but, you know, for the sake of family. That's what I was thinking before.
Yes,
That
yes, yes,
I want to
yes,
help
yes,
everyone's concern, but I'm not helping myself. That's the only downside to it.
yes, yes. Correct,
And
correct,
it
correct,
actually
correct.
with his family also, because they started a business as a family also, but because of sibling rivalry and jealousy, they had to separate from one another. So they had to start their own
Yes,
individual business. So
yes, yes,
it's a cycle, which is sad
yes,
to say.
yes, yes,
In this case,
yes.
if my father were to stop the business, it would
Mm,
completely stop with him. So I will not be able to continue.
okay.
Which what I was thinking at the
Yes.
time, that I can continue the business because I have different perspective of how to grow it, make it more successful.
Mm,
Well, that's
mm,
different now.
mm.
Was that the same
Yes,
case in
yes.
your experience before?
Uh, Actually, sir, I joined the business family business twice.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Elvin,
Yes.
you yeah, the video
It's
is still
okay.
on.
It's okay, sir.
first time, just like everybody else, I'm thinking. I mean, I have to help, and then this is a shortcut. I mean, I don't
Yes.
really need to struggle through job interviews. So
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
went there, and then sure enough, I have conflicts with my father.
Okay.
So I I resigned. I went on my own, and then uh, here is the problem, especially in our society.
Okay.
Since I'm the eldest, society dictates that
You
you
take
will be the
over.
first in line to
Yeah.
not
You are.
only help, help,
Yes, yes.
and when they find out that you are doing it on your own, society will brand you as somebody who's ingrate.
Yes, yes. To put it mildly,
So
yes.
yeah, but especially in the Chinese community, I mean, they
Yes.
look at you like somebody with
You're like
AIDS,
you're like
somebody
an
stay away
outcast.
from you.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
like an outcast. So, and then to top it all, uh, my father did a self pity blackmail conversation like,
Wow.
I'm getting old. Nobody's taking over.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
please remember how I struggled to pay for your tuition fee.
Wow.
With that kind of argument,
Yeah, you will not win in that
I'm forced to
conversation.
swallow my pride and go back.
Yes, yes, actually.
So when I went back again after a few years, we butt heads again. So I said I'm going to get sick, okay? Because the other thing, which is a casualty, which not a lot of people know, no.
Mm-hmm.
When sons fight with their dad, they don't, because of respect. We don't fight face to face. We
Yes,
go through a third party.
yes. Which is the family member which is typically involved.
Yes, and which is your mom.
Yes,
Now, so if you put yourselves in the shoes of the mom, every day both parties are giving you stress.
yes,
Every day they're complaining. What does
yes.
that do to her mental state?
Obviously, it's not a
She
good
might get
thing.
sick. Eh?
Yes, yes,
She might
yes.
get sick. That's why, one of the leading disease now here in our country is cancer. That's one of the causes of cancer, stress. Eh? So
Yes. Uh-oh.
in our culture, we're not allowed to confront our dad. That
Okay.
because that's disrespectful.
Yes,
So what we do
yes,
is we go to third parties and usually the mom. And if you do that to your mom every day, you're going to make her sick one day.
yes. It's a side
Rather
effect in a
than
sense, right?
correct, correct. So I saw that happening already. So I got out. Kasi my
So,
mom's stressed na because of trying to referee us. Eh.
so from the time that you left your family business to today, so how's your relationship with your father now?
Uh,
Is is it
still
still?
good. I mean, Chinese fathers are like that.
Yeah.
We're not very clingy. We're not very affectionate. We don't
Yes,
like
yes,
hug, kiss,
yes,
and
yes.
and the longest conversation that we would have is about business.
Yeah, you just go straight to the point, right?
Correct. And outside that, if we don't talk about business, the only thing I can talk to him about is, Pa, have you eaten lunch?
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah, that's
I mean,
small talk, right?
that,
Oh,
that,
siya, lobo,
that,
mga
that,
ganon. Yes, yes.
that's a small talk.
Yeah,
That's it. That's it. No more. So,
yeah.
but I'm okay. I'm okay with that because
Yes,
if
yes,
we prolong the conversation, we're going to fight. Eh.
yes, yes.
So, with the status quo right now, I don't see him often, and he doesn't see me around the office.
Yes,
That's okay.
yes.
Uh, the less he sees me,
It's
the
better.
less he finds fault in me,
Yes,
and
yeah.
the less stressed I would be.
Yeah, so it's a win-win for everyone. So the status quo is the best alternative in this case. Rather than
Well, yes, I have one edge though. I have four other brothers. Four other
ah,
brothers. We're all
okay.
five boys. Eh. And
Okay.
brother number two learned the lesson after me. He also went his own.
Okay.
Uh, brother number four saw it happening to his two elder brothers, so he went out of the country already.
Wow, wow, that's far. Okay.
Okay. Brother number three and brother number five, they're the ones now going
Helping.
through the abuse of working for the family.
So they're
And
part of the family
brother
business now.
brother number five last month just went out. just resign.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I'm not saying it's bad to be in the family business. In my part, yes, because my brothers are slowly seeing the
The
negatives
downside,
of
yes.
yes. Elvin, let me just clear this up. Most people think that when you join the family business, you get free house, free cell phone, free
Yes.
car, free
Free
office.
everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. One thing in life that I've learned: nothing in life is
It's
free.
free. Yes.
When you're given something like that, your social life is shut.
Yes.
You will have no more social life. Even if you, let's say, want to go out of the country, you need to sign a permission slip
Yes.
to your parents because you need to justify the cost. I mean,
Yes.
that's not the way I want to live my life. Eh.
Yeah.
So, that, again, let me repeat, that's my opinion. Some people, they're okay with that. Oh, some people, even with them having children already, they're still living
Yes.
with their parents. I
Yes,
moved
actually.
out a long time ago.
Yes.
Uh, 25 years, I think.
Well, sad to
And
say
I'm
for
happy.
me, sad to say for me, I live with my parents because I'm the eldest also.
Oh, yeah, again.
And the problem
Yeah,
is, I have only a younger brother, so it's up to us to take over the business since I already left, and he's not
mm.
interested to follow in my
Ah,
footsteps. So the problem lies
yeah,
who's
yeah.
going to continue. Yeah, that's my point, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
it
yes,
always
yes,
falls down
yes,
on me because I have
yes.
the, I'm more likely to pursue a business career than my younger brother.
Mm, mm,
So
mm,
I always think to myself, could I have done something different? How could I done things
mm,
differently to make the
mm,
situation better? But it is what
mm.
it is. So it's a more prominent problem in typical Chinese family business than in
Yes,
other
yes.
cultures, in our opinion. But you know, how could things be better in your opinion? Because I think it's not just an isolated case like you mentioned.
We need to have what you call a cultural shift. Okay,
What do you mean,
when
sir?
we say okay, when we say home for the aged,
Okay.
what's your take on home for the aged?
No, no, that's a big no-no. They live with me.
See,
Yes.
that's it. You see,
Yes.
that's it. In other countries, like in other Asian countries, that's
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
We have this mindset na it's bad, it's disrespectful,
Yes.
it's not taking care of your parents. I beg to disagree. If it would look like if it's not taking care of them. If
It's
you
bad.
give them
Yeah.
if you give them a place of residence, that's bad. But if
Yes.
you make them, let's imagine now that your retirement home is Tagaytay Highlands.
Yes.
Is that bad?
It's not, but you're far from family. That's the whole point. That's the problem to.
Yeah, check with them if they want to be with you at this age.
Well, actually, they have no choice eh. Kasi given the two of us, I'm the more likely one who has to deal with the situation eh. With any
Correct,
problem that
correct.
arises, whether they need to go to the hospital, deal with business problems and so forth.
Okay.
So, it's
A,
a,
a good
yes.
okay. A good model for a retirement home would be a self-contained community with its own medical facilities, with its own
Mm,
resort and whatnot. So if
yes.
that being said, no, ako I'd rather put them in a retirement home, sheltered from the business problems, which by the way gives them stress. The whole
Yes.
point why they're retiring is they want to be stress free. So if I was to put them in some place like Tagaytay, wherein they're protected from stress, fresh air and all, safe from the pandemic and whatnot,
Yes.
that makes me feel better, and I can visit them weekly.
Yeah. But I don't,
Let me repeat, no, the mindset of our culture here is
it's
it's
different.
very
Eh.
disrespectful to do that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Actually, I saw it in
mm,
my hands-on experience because I saw my mom, my dad taking care of their own parents at the time when they're still alive. So they had to
mm,
take care of them. So no, no, no. They, we live in a compound. So on my dad's
mm,
side, all of their siblings had their own unit, and the grandfather is beside our unit. So they can come visit us, or we can come
mm,
visit them, easily.
mm,
And even on my
mm,
grandmother's side, on my mom's side, you know, either one of the family members had to take care of our grandmother, and it was in ingrained in our mind at a young age that this is family, so you have to take care of everyone. So that's why that's where the conflict rises right away, because of the closeness of the family, which is a
Yes.
strength, which is also a weakness, because when you go to
Yes.
business, obviously
Correct.
ideas will clash.
Correct.
So parang how do
Okay.
you deal with it? It's not a win-win scenario in any case. But which leads me to the next question.
Mm.
How come some of the business, like in the SM, the Ayala, the Gokongways, how are they able to, achieve their success compared to the rest? Because, they have their success
Mm.
stories, but for the majority, it's an uphill battle. What do you think is their success there?
Mm. Uh,
What's their key to success?
Second generation yan, Elvin. The second
Ah,
generation. You remember, statistically, second generation usually makes
it
the business
better.
bigger. That's
Yes.
how, again, based on the trend, no, that's
Yes.
usually what happens. And I'm scared what's going to happen to the third generation. Actually, if you see their organizational chart,
Yes.
the people in the upper management now are outsiders,
Mm.
especially in SM.
Yeah,
It's
actually.
different now. It's not a C anymore.
Yeah.
The person who calls the shots. So
But
they actually know. So they're preparing for it now.
yes, but how is it that, how can, family business transition to the next I think based on many studies, the first to the second is the key part, eh. If they cannot
Mm.
transition effectively, there's little to no chance of them, succeeding to future generations, eh. And it always
Mm.
starts with, is it because the business is not formalized? That's why, we want to discuss, there are strengths for a family business. There are also strengths for a non-family owned business. Which do you think is the better route here? Do you choose one, or do you mix the two concepts here?
Um, if you well, I'd rather call it copy.
Okay.
Copy. Okay. Now the success formula of non-family business is they encapsulated in one single word. It's called being professional.
Yes, yes. Most
So
definitely.
imagine if I apply that in a family business to
Yes.
professionalize the family business. When I say professionalize, start bringing in outsiders
Yes.
and then try to put them in key positions. Although, again, no, the ownership, the majority equity would still lie in the hands of blood.
The family. Yeah.
But the general manager or the vice president, you could probably take in outsiders who are
Okay.
they call it the grunts, the people who get their hands dirty.
Yeah.
Get them on in key positions now.
Yes.
But like I said, no, most Chinese, well, family businesses,
Yes.
they don't like outsiders coming in. In
They don't
fact,
like meddling, right? That they call it meddling if they have other outside people coming in.
and most have rules about in-laws coming in.
Oh, that's a different story altogether. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again, no, it's to show you how they are so protective of their structure
Yes.
in such a manner that even if the job holder is incompetent because of blood, he's given a position.
Yes, actually. So,
So that is one of the formula that makes it unsuccessful.
but do you think, based on what I've seen so far, that many of the successful businesses are, it depends on how they're set up. Eh. Is it because that many of the first generation family owned business are not incorporated in a sense? They are not formally set up. That's what I'm trying to
Yes,
say?
yes,
Is that the main
yes,
reason that's what's
yes.
stopping
You
them
you
from continuing
yes,
or succeeding to the next
yes,
generation?
yes, yes, yes. But if you look at the Taipans, the big
Yes.
businesses, they're starting to learn. They're
Yes.
formalizing their organizational chart. And if
Yes.
you look at the names in their organizational chart, not
Yes.
everyone shares the family name anymore. So the
Yes.
second generation is learning.
Yeah, actually,
They're learning that it's not just about the family now. So that's it. That is what makes some of the big businesses here successful.
successful.
The big family.
Actually, that's one of my big complaints before when I was younger, before I even took up college degree and so forth, that I saw that in order for the business to grow, you need to invite, more qualified people in the
Correct.
business to help you grow.
Correct.
But obviously,
Correct.
like you mentioned
Correct.
earlier, they want to control everything, which is I think the downside of, on the flip side, that you see them that so much control, but it limits your growth. So question is,
Correct.
how can you help the business?
Correct.
So, and it always already
Correct.
contrasts your decision making already. So sabi ko,
Correct. Correct.
why go through with it? As you've experienced yourself personally, going through the heartaches of, disappointment that you see, what could
Correct.
have been, what should have been,
Mm.
but that's not what's happening right now. And
Correct.
and I think one of the main problems that I see is, the financial aspect, the profitability
Yes.
of a business.
Yes.
Obviously, the patriarch would see it that, as long as you're earning money, it's good enough. Obviously, as a second generation, you want it to grow, right? Like with any
Yes.
business. Otherwise, why
And
send us to go
uh,
to school to study and everything? Then we're not able to use what we've learned, right? And
mm,
then you're stuck in
mm,
the middle place. What are you supposed to do?
mm,
Do you have
yes.
the same sentiment here, or
Yes.
is it just
Yes.
me?
And the patriarch usually feels that you get a
Yeah.
pay cut, and you can't complain because you do this, and you do overtime for free, okay? And you work on Sundays.
Actually, that's a give. That's a given.
Yeah, well, that's a given, no? But if you look at your other batchmates that are corporate, they
Yeah.
have day offs, vacation
Yeah.
time,
Yeah. Leave.
I grew up with a store in Divisoria. So
Okay.
during summer vacation, where everyone goes to the beach and goes to the vacation, I mind the store.
Okay.
Well, can you imagine that? Yung nagtataboy ako ng langaw, ginaganon ko sa tindahan.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
I was so jealous of my batchmates, but that's how it is. Like what
Yes.
you said, it is what it is.
Yes.
Uh,
Actually, I had the experience, during Saturdays, it was considered collection day from our suppliers. So they drop by to the
yeah.
house or to the office. My job was to
Uh,
give the check. So I feel like I'm a rich person handing out money.
uh,
But it's debt
uh,
in
uh,
a sense. So it's in great a young age that you're supposed to help out in any shape or form, whether you're actually helping or
correct,
not. But the point is you're part of
correct,
the operation. And obviously as you grow up,
correct.
you're expected to follow suit, which is it's part of the culture, like you mentioned. There has to be a culture shift, but again, which is kind of ironic. The advantage of having a family is your family is in proximity with the business. So after work, when you leave work, you still see your family members, right? So the problem is if you
Mm,
have
mm.
conflict arise from due to the uh, disagreements within the business, it carries over, which is not a good thing, right? And
Correct,
it
correct,
goes to the
correct.
dinner conversation. It festers on for several days, and to a point of contention, like you mentioned, that to the worst case scenario, people, suko na ako, I resign, something like that, right? And
Mm, mm.
how about in terms of jealousy? Since you have siblings, did you encounter
Yes.
any jealousy within your with your family or?
Ye- yes, I have to be thankful with my brothers because they're also mature enough to see it happening. Okay, so the brother next to me already saw it happening, so he went out on his own.
Okay.
The fourth also saw it, that's why he went out of the country. The fifth just realized it now. Now, what I'm scared of, if when the third one gets to open his eyes, uh, my dad would be left with no heir
Yes. Yes.
because everyone is setting up their own businesses now.
Yes.
But for me, that's better than being dependent. Okay,
Yeah.
let me just explain something, Elvin. No? I
Yes.
have in the way I make decisions, especially in life. No, I have two moral compass:
Okay.
laws of man and laws of God. Right? So I always base my decision on those two. If I'm familiar with the Ten Commandments,
Okay.
okay, I'm fairly familiar with the laws of man. If I remember clearly, there is nothing there that says that you should live with your father and mother forever.
Yeah, actually.
You're not disobeying any law. Yes, honor your father and mother doesn't necessarily mean you live with your father and mother, or you
Yeah.
take care of them until they die. That it doesn't mean like I can take care of them in other ways.
Yes.
Okay? In fact, if you think about it, if you spend so much time taking care of them, who's going to take care of your children?
Yes, actually.
That I simplify the way I think. No? So
Yeah.
rather than choose between my parents and my children, imagine if you can outsource the taking care of the parents, which their needs and wants are not that stressful. I mean,
Yes.
all you need to do is keep them safe. Then a doctor on call medically, they're monitoring, and then camaraderie
Yes.
with their fellow, their friends and whatnot, and then give them like some fresh air, nice view, and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't think they would like to grow old living in a condo with the polluted air and
Yeah.
traffic and whatnot. They won't be it won't last with that, no.
Yeah. Actually,
As I mentioned, no?
actually, it depends
uh,
on the case to case basis. Like in your case, that might work. In my case, my dad has been used when he was younger, starting, didn't finish his college. He only finished his high school, so he started young, working, and all he knew up to now is just to work. So I don't want him to
yes,
stop
yes,
because it's
yes.
his it's his routine in a sense. So asking him to
Mm,
stop, that's why rather than fight with him, like, you do what you want to do. If
mm,
it's what you find satisfaction in your uh,
yes.
daily routine. So, but the question is,
Mm,
up to a certain point, they have to stop, which is I don't think they have
correct, correct,
realized, even though they're
correct,
already
correct,
grandpas, angkong amas na, but they still
correct,
continue as if
correct.
they're still 20, 30 something year olds, and I don't know how to deal with
Elvin,
it because up to a certain point, you know they will have to stop. Yes, sir. Yes.
hello, can you hear? You
Yes.
know that working, that is what makes them young.
Yes, actually, kasi I had
That
a
that makes their brain work. Eh.
yes, even though they're hard at work, but it's what they're used to.
Yes,
Even my
they're
mom,
happy.
yeah,
They're
yes,
happy.
there's a sense of
Yeah.
purpose, eh. Kasi based on my experience, I
So
have four close group of friends, and when they dads stopped working because they wanted to retire, they wanted to close the business, they want to relax, like you mentioned. It didn't turn out well for them. So one
mm,
thing I realized, no, let them do whatever they want. It's what got them successful in the first place. So
mm, mm.
hopefully, if that's how it comes to the end, at least they do what they enjoy the most, right?
Most of the time, I see them treading two paths, Elvin.
Yes.
Number one, you set up a business for them,
Yes.
grow it again. Like that's, I'm sure they will enjoy that. I mean, nurturing it. Okay? The
Yes.
question there is who gets to take over the family business
Yes,
while they're
actually.
setting up a new one. So that means you're now tied in to the family business
Yes,
while
I'm
he's
back.
setting up another family business. But
Yes.
like I said, he's going to enjoy that. Or path number two, like I said, is to retire. Most of the people in the family, the old patriarchs,
Yes.
they travel.
Yes, actually.
They travel.
Yes,
They
but
travel, yes, to look around, but they usually travel to go back to their ancestral country of origin.
yes,
I
to
don't know if you've
visit.
noticed that.
Yes, yes, yes. He's swatting
They
it.
visit
That's the term that they use.
their they go back to their old barangay in China,
Yes, yes.
okay, and they become Santa Claus there. I don't know if you know
Yes,
that.
yes, yes.
Yeah, that's the way they are. That is what makes them happy. So
Yeah.
uh, if that's what makes them happy, go for
Let
it, no?
go for
But
it, yeah.
yes, but please don't fight with me. I mean, in terms of
Yeah.
I mean, running the business. So you cannot teach your dad to do the right thing
Oh
because he
yes.
will not listen.
Oh yes.
So rather than do that, I ano na lang, surrender. I mean, I just go on my own, no?
Leave
Which
it
is
be.
okay for him.
Yes.
Yes. Right now he's calmer because uh, I used to fight with my dad a lot, and my mom always referees, and both of them they always fight because of me,
Yeah.
because my mom will try to defend me, and I'd rather not go through that stress for
Yes.
them.
Yes,
So
yes.
rather than go through that, I moved away. I moved out. Okay. They say, I don't know if you've heard of the saying, absence makes the heart grow
True
fonder.
fun. Yeah, in a sense, yes. in a sense.
There's an opposite to that. There's an opposite to that. Too much togetherness makes you harsher.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
every day your dad sees your face, every day he sees something wrong with you, he sees something wrong with your wife, he sees
Yes.
something wrong with your children, he even interferes with what school your children are go to.
Yes,
I mean,
actually.
I I don't want to go through that. No,
Yeah,
I
actually.
mean if he's if he when he was young he likes that school, it doesn't necessarily mean it's still a good school.
He can change his mind. Yeah, actually.
Yeah, so I don't want to go through that stress. And when we argue, uh, uh, it's very stressful. So I did the next best thing. I moved out, okay?
Yeah.
And I try to live on my own if I can. No? Of course I still give him the due respect that he deserves because he's my dad.
Yes.
But I see less of him, which is less stressful for him and me.
Okay.
And the business it's running okay naman, and he's still running it. He's okay with it. My dad's about a retirement age na, but he's still
Okay.
there. Like what you said, Elvin, he enjoys it. So I won't stop him. I mean, he likes it, so
But have you
good
considered,
for
sir,
him.
if and when he eventually retires, do you plan to continue his business?
Actually, my daughters are already telling me they don't like,
Ah,
and the daughters of my brothers also don't like. So I will not tell my dad about that, no? Kasi my dad, whenever we visit him, sabi mga apo, when I retire, you sit here in this office.
yes.
And then my daughters would give me the look, like, oh
They're already
no,
warning
like,
you.
but,
Don't think
yeah,
about it.
but I tell them to keep quiet about it.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Show respect.
I don't like hurting the feelings of my dad.
Oh yes.
But as it is, no, uh, it's a I think it's going to be a problem on who wants to take over. Now, here is the funny part, Elvin. No, in
Yes.
most telenovela, you see the siblings fighting over the business.
Yes. It's the
In our
opposite.
case,
It's the opposite.
we're staying away. We're fighting who can we throw into the business because
Yeah,
nobody
sacrificial
wants to come
lamb.
in.
Yeah,
Not
actually.
even yes, nobody wants to. Uh, but I for me it's a smaller problem than if I fight with my siblings about the inheritance.
Yeah, actually.
Uh, the other thing which I need to give credit to my dad. No, when we were very young, we had a family meeting. He said it straight to my face. When I die, you guys get nothing.
Wow.
When we were children, that hurts. That really hurts.
Yeah.
But today, when I think about it, tama nga naman, no? Why should I look forward to his inheritance? That takes away the struggle nga. I need to like live on my own because he's not going to be there forever. You can't live your life expecting the inheritance.
Yeah. Yes,
So,
actually.
sabi ko, sige, sabi ko, okay lang yun. It's good training for him, for me, the way he said it, no? It's harsh, but it's
But it's
good training.
reality. Yeah. Actually,
Yes, but it's a reality.
I see some similarities in terms of family business dynamic as well as very successful businesses in general. Whether you're a millionaire or a billionaire. Kasi typically the patriarch or the parents, make the business successful. Then the children comes in, everything is hand and foot given to them. They're already provided for. Parang, what's to look forward? Why should I work hard? And
Correct. Correct.
it's a difficult
Correct.
dynamic that obviously as kids, current generation that we're experiencing, we're working hard to be successful. But the question is, what will happen to the next succeeding generations that everything is well laid out. Obviously, we're trying to plan how to make the business sustainable, how can we support our family, not just ourselves, but the future generation and so forth. But obviously, it also has the downside. That's why many of the billionaires that who are adamant, or even I think Paul McCartney is one also who stated that when he dies, he's not leaving any cent to his children. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but obviously it looks bad for the parent in a sense. but it makes sense because there's no sense of purpose if you think about it, if everything's given hand and foot to you already.
Okay, I understand. You know, Elvin, I want to refute what I said. No?
Yes,
Most parents might talk harsh,
yes,
but their behavior in the end is different.
yes, actually,
No parent can see their children suffering. They can't stand that.
yes,
So despite the fact that, let's say, I tell my daughter, you get nothing when I die,
yeah,
I would still actually leave something.
yes. You
Okay.
see, yeah. Actually,
It's just words.
yeah, actually, it's like my mom. Her bark
Ah.
is much worse than her bite. So it's all about talk. When it comes to action, especially when they see their grandchildren, angkong, ama, everything
Yes,
changes.
yes, yes.
So
Yes, yes, yes.
so you get to see the real them, but
Uh,
obviously time has already lapsed. So it's
mm,
beneficial for the grandchildren, not for the children technically. But
mm,
at least you get to see them in a different light. So it's not all that bad.
mm,
But obviously,
mm.
you wish things could have happened differently in
Uh,
terms of the family dynamic as well as the business. So what would you suggest now in terms of future entrepreneurs that strives to have a family-owned business? Should they even pursue that, or is there a way to be successful? Because I think this is something that should, obviously there's a lot of studies have been done over and over about
mm.
family dynamic and so forth, but how can we ensure the success of many of the family businesses that are now established, who are, you mentioned earlier, that are having difficulty transitioning to the future generation and avoid the pitfalls like
Okay,
what we discussed earlier?
okay. There are two entry points for a child to go to family business. Number one is straight from graduation. Okay. When
Okay.
you do that, it's best to let them start in a very low position.
Okay.
Actually, kung kaya, pa-start mo siya as janitor and then
As lo-
slowly work his way up.
okay.
Okay. The advantage of that is the child, as he grows up, he knows every corner of the business because he grew up in the business.
Yes.
Okay? The disadvantage of that is he only knows that business. He
Yes.
doesn't know anything about the world.
Yes.
Okay. Path number two, you let them work outside first, corporate.
Yes.
And then after a few years, they come back. Now,
Yes.
the plus of that is they get exposed to the world.
Yes.
The negative of that, they
They
might
may
not want to
come
come
back.
back
Yes, actually.
after being exposed.
Yes,
I mean,
actually.
again, those are two good entry points that the patriarch can use, no? But most of the time, they always go for option one. Yung bata pa lang pinapabantay na ng
Yeah, they
tita.
train you at a young age, actually.
I don't really like that option. I like my children exposed first before
Yes.
they come back. If they want to come back, if they don't come back, okay lang.
As long as
We
they're just
have no
successful,
objection.
eh. Yeah, actually, that's right.
Yes. Okay. Some people think that I'm trying to piss on family business. I'm in the
Yeah.
family business before. So let me do just a point by point comparison, Elvin. What's the difference
Okay.
between a family business and a business?
Okay, sir.
In family business, you call your bosses uncle, auntie,
Yes.
di ba?
Yes.
And during meetings, you call them uncle, auntie.
You show them
In
respect.
business, in business meeting, you call them sir,
Yes.
di ba? Sir, ma'am. You don't call
Yeah.
them uncle, auntie.
Yes.
Okay. In family business, no matter how many failure you have in any subjects, you still get that position.
Yeah, actually. Yes.
In the real world, in the business world, if you fail, you don't get that position.
Yes,
Diba
actually.
ganun yun, di ba? When
Yeah,
HR interviews you. In a family business, when you make a mistake, what happens to you?
you get fired.
Let's say when you,
You wish you get
no, in
fired.
family business,
Ano,
well,
they'll look away. Actually, they'll accept your fault and,
correct.
they might scold
Even
you. They'd scold you
yes,
over
yes,
and over and remind you of your past mistakes,
correct,
actually.
correct. And your mom would be the backup, will say, okay lang yan, Elvin, we still love you. Yung mga ganon, di ba?
Well, actually
So
nga, they won't even say nga eh. My parents are not demonstrative
no,
like you mentioned.
yeah.
But they would still support you. But they would still support you,
Yeah,
like you
yes,
mentioned.
correct,
Their
correct,
actions will betray their words. Actually, that's how you
correct,
know it. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, sir.
correct. So imagine if you're in a business, I mean
You do,
in corporate,
you do the same
I've
thing.
never heard of your boss will say, okay
Oh,
lang yan, Elvin,
okay
I
lang.
still love you. Di ba? I've never heard of a CEO
Yeah,
says that, di ba?
yeah. No, you never
When
heard
you
that.
make a mistake in the business world, no consultation, no scolding, you're
No, no.
fired.
You're fired. Simple as that. Yeah.
Ganun yun. For me, that's a better training. Kasi
Yeah.
if your mindset is there's still tomorrow, masyado kang complacent.
Yeah,
But if you
actually.
make decisions like there's no tomorrow, you'd be careful
Yeah.
and
So,
you'd be wiser in terms of making a decision.
yeah, the way I see it, for family business to succeed, they have to really transition from whether it's a sole proprietor or a partnership to a corporation. I think that's the only way.
Mm.
Once it's formalized, then you change the culture, like you mentioned, and the dynamic. There's a structure. So the father would still be the, let's say, the president or the head of board of directors, but the son can be the president or the CEO who handles the day-to-day operation. And I don't if I've known that years earlier, I would have pushed for that heavily, and maybe things would have changed differently.
Mm.
But it is what it
Mm.
is. So that's what I'm trying to do here, to share our experiences, your experiences as well, so
Ah,
that people can learn from what's good about the family business and what's bad about it. But who can tell, right?
okay, okay. But one thing I've learned is when you bring in outsiders, you get a
Yes.
fresh perspective.
Yes. Yes.
But you need to suspend that thinking of, my ownership will be diluted. There will be
Yes.
outsiders owning the company. I need us to stop thinking like that because if
Yes.
not not everyone in your family is smart to run the
Yes.
business.
Who is suited actually? Yeah.
Sometimes, yes, there are actually brighter, more intelligent people outside who you can use. It's just swallow your pride and then just ask for their help.
Yes,
But
actually.
most businesses now, they're very scared of getting their shares diluted. That's why they
Yeah.
refuse to let outsiders in. That is a recipe for disaster. If
And
you want to sustain your business, you need to start professionalizing it.
yeah, actually, and the way I see it, kasi that's what I discussed in my paper for my PhD, succession.
Mm.
Because there has to be a distinction that, I think many family businesses are not aware that when you
Mm.
formalize it, there's a difference between who manages the business and who owns the business. Because typically in a family business,
Correct.
they're one and the same. But if you separate it,
Correct.
you may own it, but you don't have to manage it. Right? You still reap
Correct.
the
Correct.
rewards of a business, but
Correct.
someone can manage it as long as they're doing their job well. If they're not doing it well, get someone else. But they still
Correct.
want the
Correct.
control.
Correct.
I think that's the misconception, which is I
Correct.
see common.
Correct.
Kaya that's where the
Correct.
conflict
Correct.
arises, and I don't know
Correct.
how to encourage people nga to have this notion that you know heavy incorporation is a good thing, right? You get several benefits from our government protection and everything.
Mm. Mm.
And if you notice,
Yeah.
the 1% that are businesses in our country are those who are multinational businesses. And with the likes of the Gokongways, the Seas, the Ayalas, and so forth, they're the template, so to speak. But
Correct. 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 Correct.
but again,
That again,
yes,
it's a matter of cultural shift. You said one thing that's we're very sensitive about, Elvin. It's
yes,
called succession planning.
yeah,
I In our culture, it is unacceptable to talk to your dad about how much you would get in terms of inheritance.
yeah.
Tama?
Actually, yes, actually,
In front of the dinner table, you don't tell your dad, pa, magkano mamanahin ko
yeah,
pag, di ba? It's in bad taste. But,
yeah.
you're just doing succession planning. There's
It's
no
part
harm
of
in
the
that.
process. Yeah, actually, you're looking ahead
Supposedly.
already. And actually,
Okay.
nga, I wasn't even talking about the inheritance at the time. I was just asking, when will my time come? Something like that. Because, diba,
Ah,
when I was younger, syempre,
ah,
I had ambitions. I want to properly manage a business and so forth. So, sabi ko, is it a year from now? 5 years, 10 years? There's no discussion. So, it left the question in limbo. So, what am I supposed to think about? Right? When I'm
yeah.
30, 40, 50, 70 years old, I wasn't even sure if what would be the future would look like. And I think that's one of the main problems in my situation.
we we never talk about that. Actually, culture dictates that we don't talk about that. But here is the one thing to consider, no? What if something happens, something
Yes.
unplanned?
Yes.
What happens? Who
Yes.
takes over? But
Yes.
you can't just leave it like that. We need to make it in writing and whatnot. But again, it's in bad taste now. Eh.
Yeah,
I don't know.
actually, I had the personal experience. I thought I had an opportunity because my dad had an accident years back. He's doing well now. So I had to take over in the daily operation, so which I already was capable of doing. So I thought I had the opportunity to prove to them that I can actually do it. Then little did I know, when my father recovered, it's as if he just went back to his position, and then I came back to become the subordinate that I thought all the while they were already grooming me, all of this stuff for
Mm,
succession, but it didn't came to be. So parang, am I wasting my time here? Something like that. So why should we even, spend more time here, invest more time that I don't know even what will be the outcome here. And, again, communication, like you mentioned, and the culture, and you're not supposed to ask. It's as if parang you want them to die or something. Parang when you're
yes.
asking about it,
Yes.
why? Am I dying anytime soon? No.
Yes.
You know,
Yes. 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 Yes.
can't fault them. That's how they
Yes.
were brought up. So parang why
Yes.
even
Yes.
fight with them? And like you mentioned,
Yes.
we chose a different
Yes.
path, which is, things could have turned differently.
But the way we were brought up is everything needs to be planned.
Yes,
Planned,
yes,
di ba? And
yes,
to plan, you have to anticipate negative things so that you
yes,
can do countermeasure.
yes,
But they
yes,
refuse to see the negative things. Because, bakit mo ako gustong mamatay?
yes.
Di
Yun
ba?
kagad
Parang
eh.
gano'n
Yun
eh.
na,
Di ba?
yes, yes, yes.
Nagiging defensive. So, we're just trying to do a worst case scenario
Yeah.
planning. But they refuse to do that. Eh. Now,
Ah,
the way they look at it, Sir Elvin, is most of the sons, they make this mistake. Eh. If ceremonially your dad gave you the business,
yes.
usually the first thing that the son will do, where will he sit?
Bis.
Where will he sit? Saan siya upo?
dapat
Anong
dun,
office gagamitin niya?
dapat yung office ng dad niya supposed to be.
Oh,
Pero
see? Yun eh.
yeah,
Ito pag gagawin niya, pag nag-take over siya, babaguhin niya.
everything, yeah.
Tatanggalin niya yung
Yeah.
mga pang
Mga
kung
decoration,
ano,
yeah, decoration niya.
yung mga Chinese thingy, tapos
Oh,
re-repaint mo,
yeah.
sabi mo
To,
parang laudiat, di ba?
tsaka to
Ganun.
personalize, yes. Actually, yes, yes.
Tama. Alam mo ba ma-offend yung dad mo nun?
Yes, yes. Kaya nga parang you're supposed to take a different seat, but you're in charge.
Correct.
So parang, what's the whole, what's that about?
Di ba, yung kumbaga, most of the mistake that sons do is, if I take over, that means I have full autonomy
Yes,
on
yes.
how to spend the money, how to decorate the place.
Everything.
No,
Yeah,
it's not
no.
the case.
It's just a
Fear
title.
calls the shots.
Yeah, you just have a title.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, leave his office alone. That's what I've
Yes.
learned the hard way.
Yes,
I
yes.
leave the office alone, and you don't need a cubicle anyways. You just get a table. I mean, at this
Yeah.
day and age, hindi na nakaka-ego boosting yung sariling kwarto.
Yeah.
Lamesa na lang at upuan. I mean, who pays attention to the
Actually, the key point
office?
here is there has to be an understanding. It's clear from the
Yes.
father to the children who is in control. And if that's not clarified or communicated, I think that would fester for a long time. That's where the friction comes in. Kasi every time I
Correct.
bring up a situation, for example, maybe we need to hire more people, we need to expand, so forth. Different ideas. No, that didn't work for me before. This is what works. We should follow this route and so forth and so. Okay, so parang I have a good idea here. I think that might work. Something like that. And they always shut down your idea. Parang you cannot come up with a better idea than they did. Sabi ko, and
Their generation, Elvin, hates spreadsheets. I don't know if you've noticed.
yeah, actually,
Noticed
yes. I
They
tried.
don't like Excel. when I put up a system monitoring the payroll, he
Yeah.
hated that.
Oh,
And
really?
the way we do time in before
Ah.
is, alam yung bandy clock?
Yeah.
Diba
So
ganon? Yung
punch
card?
in, punch
Ganun
out.
siya noon.
Wow.
Tapos nung inintroduce ko yung biometric, sabi niya, gastos lang yan. Hindi pwede.
Yes,
hindi pwede
yes.
yan. Sayang pera. Sabi niya gano'n. Fine. Diba? yung mga ganon, it's little things that I let him do the decisions na.
Actually, which goes back to what you were saying
You
earlier.
know, the major decisions.
Yes.
Mm, mm.
Kasi you were saying like it goes
Yes,
back
yes,
to
go.
his personality that being thrifty. So every little expense counts in his mind. But obviously we're already looking the investment, the value that you're getting on that, let's say a purchase or hiring an extra person that you're
Yeah.
bringing in later on. But I don't think they see that. They're just looking at the bottom line. Are we profiting? Are we losing money? How can we reduce the cost? How can we gain more profit? Tipid, tipid, tipid. Because that's the culture before eh. And
Yes.
it's hard to go against with that mindset, which is sayang. Yun yung sa akin eh. Malaking sayang. Because, I was willing because, like in your case, how were you able to pursue your college degree? Kasi I noticed that your background is in engineering. Yes? And
Yes. Yes.
what were their aspirations for you when you were in college?
He didn't like my degree.
Yeah, actually, that was I was.
Like it. The first time, my first course was actually in UST.
And what was?
I passed UST.
Okay.
Fine arts.
Fine arts. Okay.
We're a family of artists.
Okay.
My dad draws well. My mom
Ah.
draws well. Then, so
Okay.
our business was into construction. So it was like complement that if I study fine arts, I will be an interior decorator and
Okay.
But the thing here is, first day of class, when I came in,
Uh-huh.
I was not ready for the gender distribution.
What do you mean, sir? Is it dominated?
It's dominated by men.
Yes.
A different
Type of.
you understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not being prejudiced and all, no? But I got scared because alam mo yung saying na birds of the same feather
Flock together. Yeah.
So I might get influenced.
Okay.
And in my clan, we're a family of macho men.
Yeah, actually, sir, that's another issue pa regarding about things like that, personal issues.
Yes.
But anyway,
they cannot accept that.
Yeah.
Which is I'm open to that. It's just that I'm not ready.
Yes, yes.
First day of class, I dropped it.
Okay.
And then I went on to I tried to dig up my application in LaSalle.
Okay.
And I was checking the courses before when I was in high school. I just checked randomly. And I checked engineering technology.
Okay.
Research ko ano yun.
Okay.
It wasn't that to the course. So I transferred to industrial management engineering.
Okay. That's why I was asking earlier did your parents approve of your degree?
When I showed them, their first reaction was, "What's that?"
Yes.
I've never heard of an industrial engineer. I mean, during their time when we talk about engineer, it's mechanical engineer,
Yeah.
chemical engineer. That's it.
Yes.
Oh, electrical engineer. That's
Yes.
the only engineers that they understand.
Yes.
Okay? When you talk about computer, they don't even say computer engineer. They say computer science. Yun yung
Okay.
naintindihan nila.
Okay.
So when I said industrial engineer, what's that? Alam mo, you're wasting your time. Why don't you just study med?
Something
Medical.
typical professional. Parang ganun yung
Yes.
peg.
Or lawyer. Sabi ko, no way am I going to study 10 years
10 years.
or something like that. And
Yeah.
I can't stand blood. I can't do dissection of kahit palaka nga, hindi ko kaya i-dissect.
Pares pala tayo, sir. I abhor blood.
So imagine every semester, lagi niya akong sinasabihan. What's that? What's that? What's your course? Anong pag-graduate mo, anong trabaho mo? Yung mga ulit ko nang ine-explain.
Yeah.
Tapos during that time when I studied industrial management engineering, it's bago. Kumbaga parang experimental. So sabi niya, alam mo, bago lang yan. Mali yan. You should study tried and tested courses. But, sorry, I mean, this is depressing. No? I graduated. He didn't even go to my graduation.
Really? But at least you were able to persist dun sa degree na yun kasi many would have folded and followed the footsteps kung, like in my case, I chose different courses when I applied for college. But my secondary option is always business. Kasi nga, we had a business, so I had always at the back of my mind to go into business eventually. So, but fates have it that I was going to, take up, business course eventually. And at least in your case, you were able to persist kasi, not everyone can do what you did. You stand firm on your choice and,
Yes.
and
But
succeed.
Elvin,
Yes, sir.
4 years of being bombarded.
Yes, yes.
Change course. In
Even
fact, they even got application form for other universities for me,
Wow.
which I refused.
Wow.
I mean, that's very stressful for me.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was studying, kumbaga, it's whenever you get to family reunions, and then your
Yeah.
uncles and auntie will, oh, ang laki-laki mo na, Willy,
Yes.
anong inaaral mo uli?
Yeah,
Tapos,
when you say
your dad will answer for you. Hindi ko nga naintindihan kung anong course yun eh.
Yeah.
It really hurts me when I
Yeah.
hear people say that. But I just keep quiet because, again,
Yeah,
because of
respect. Yeah,
I keep
actually.
quiet na lang.
Well, at least that's a
Listen,
that's a learning experience on
Well,
your
yes.
part that you can show that
Yes.
once you have set your mind onto something, you should pursue it. Kasi at the end of the day, you don't want to have regret eh. Yun eh. You make mistakes along the line, but regret is something that you cannot live with or you should not have to live with because you get to only live once eh. Right? So sabi ko, maybe this is the path that I'm given with. If this is yours, then pursue it. Hardship is part of the process. We're in a pandemic right now, right? So parang
Tama.
if does not make you stronger, then you need to look hard on yourself, diba? Something like that.
Correct. Funny thing, Elvin,
Yes, sir.
what I didn't like about my dad,
What
I'm
was that?
actually behaving like him.
Okay.
Which is sad, no? Kasi my daughters are about to graduate high school and they're
Okay.
choosing, I mean, for senior high, they called STEM or
Kung
I
ABM.
don't know what they call it.
Yeah, ABM.
So when they tell me what they want to do, and I say, why are you taking that? You have to take this. Which I got reminded, parang ako yung tatay ko
Oh, yeah.
That's why dun pa lang, brakes.
Yeah.
Put on the brakes.
You realize it there.
I say, sige, bahala ka na. I won't interfere. Actually, this is like the nth time that I try to interfere.
Oh, really?
And the nth time I tried to, my daughter had a boyfriend before.
Oh,
I even
nako.
interfered
Wow.
with the quality control of the boyfriend.
Yeesh.
I asked the boyfriend to come to the house for me to do a SWOT analysis. Gaganunin ko siya. So napaisip tuloy ako, sabi ko, mali. Hindi ko dapat gawin yan.
No.
I'm behaving exactly like my dad.
Yeah.
So I guess the good thing about here is I'm aware
Aware, yeah.
of the mistake.
Yes.
Oh no, not mistake. I'm aware of the things that I don't like, and I can
correct
I try
it.
to stop it early.
Yes, actually.
But this is the funny thing in life. You will find yourself copying
Being what your parents. Yeah, actually, it's
Correct.
inevitable. So
Correct.
the only difference, at least you can learn from it, and you can share with your kids, and hopefully they
Yes.
don't make the same mistakes. And
Yes.
that's part of life.
Yes.
It's a cycle. That's why you call it a family. If it's not family, you're not
Yes.
blood related, then what is it all about? And the good comes with the bad. In a sense.
Correct. Which is, again, going back to family business, you're going to grow up sheltered.
Yes,
And the world is not a sheltering
I should think.
culture.
Yes.
You go out there, you'll get hurt. If you grow up in a sheltered environment, I'm scared how you will survive. It's a jungle out there.
Yes,
And
actually
it's
nga.
very difficult to survive. So I would rather yung alam mo yung may palabas sa Discovery Channel, yung parang turuan yung bata mag-swimming, yung baby
Yes.
binabato sa tubig.
Yes, actually.
Nakita mo ba?
Yes.
Parang ganun dapat eh. That's how we should learn eh. Dapat the child dapat
Into the
should be
fire.
thrown into the
Yeah.
business world.
Yeah,
Para
into the
he-
fire so they
yes,
can learn.
so that he'll learn. But most parents are not like that.
Yes, actually.
Most parents are, you will see them. Actually, pati ako eh. Alam mo yun, yung pag tinuturuan mag-swimming yung daughter ko, nakabantay ako doon sa
Natakot
lifeguard.
ka eh. Yes.
Nandun ako sa tubig. Binabantayan ko gano'n. Which is,
That should be.
feeling ng parents.
Actually, I was watching
Well,
a
that should
video yesterday or last night yata. I think it was Patrick Bet-David.
Ah.
He's a entrepreneur in a sense. And what he learned from a friend, you know, he asked his kids if they want to go swimming, whether on the beach or in a pool, they have to go this parang lifeguard training session. So they prepare you so that you're confident na, oh, sige, son, you can go to the beach and swim because you're already prepared. And I think that should be the same case in every aspect of their lives. Na you teach them to be prepared so that, you know, eventually we will not be here to guide them anymore and they have to be on their own. Right? And again, it goes back to succession.
Yes.
so and it's a cycle. Kaya parang sabi ko, at an early age, sabi ko, I think success should be at the minds of those, you know, top management, you know, CEO, president, and so forth, because, you know, eventually who will replace them, right? And I think it's not just at the top level. Actually, middle and lower level should be at the back of their minds who will replace those key people. And, you know, it's a whole nother discussion altogether. But anyway, is there anything else, sir, you want to add before we conclude our discussion here? It's a very informative. Actually, I want to ask several more, but I think we can do this on another episode, sir. Actually, based on what we've discussed, actually, there's a lot of avenues we can branch off in the future, actually. So anything else you want to add, sir?
Something to think about, no? Since most children think like this, no? I know you think your parents are uncool.
Yes.
If they keep on interfering with your decisions.
Yes.
Okay, I've learned this the hard way. They are uncool, yes, but they're usually correct.
Yeah.
Even with your choice of your spouse, they're usually correct.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't sound right, but despite what I said, they are usually correct. I've learned that. Okay.
Yeah.
I got mad at them before, but now I'm realizing it.
Looking
they're
back,
correct.
Yeah.
I need you guys to realize that early, because, you know, the time of your parents, they're limited.
Yes, actually.
You have the chance to show them your affection, your love.
Yes.
Do it now with that little time you have, because you'll regret. My mom passed recently. And my biggest regret, I wasn't able to show her, to make her feel everything that I wanted to make her feel. So I don't want you guys to
miss
go
out.
through that.
Yeah.
To miss out. Yes.
Actually,
despite the conflict.
Actually, a great solution is having grandchildren. I think that solves majority of the problem.
Oh, they love your grandchildren more than
you. Yes, actually.
Don't get jealous.
No. Actually, nga, it's they're more affectionate kasi the term I use is mas malakas sumipsip eh.
Correct.
Sabi ko, they're more affectionate than me. Sabi ko, okay, as long everyone wins, okay, that's what I say.
Tama. Alam mo, nung panahon ko, I cannot even hug and kiss my dad.
Yes.
I mean, pag hinug and kiss my dad, yung dad ko, yung sasalubong to.
Yes. Parang what are you doing? Tama.
Gaganunin nga, di ba? Pero yung daughters ko, kiss dito, labas ang pau.
Yes.
Ang pau. Yung bata, magaling.
Magaling.
Ako, ganunin ko nga. Papa,
wala. Dikit so sit, ganun lang sasabihin niya. Go to, kit Hansi, ganun lang sasabihin. Any last thing you wanna add before we conclude our discussion?
Love your parents. They're always correct.
Yeah, actually.
Despite what you think, despite what I said, they mean well.
Actually, yung notion that father or mother knows best. Actually,
yes,
makes sense.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Your dad might not show it.
Yes.
But you know your dad really loves you.
Actually, he might not say it, but based on his action, tipo, if I would to ask him, pa, can you buy me this food? Basta pagkain, there's no problem. Pero when it comes to money, you know, it's a different situation altogether.
Correct.
Like you mentioned. No, actually, I never take it because once you understand the process, kaya nga, sometimes when my wife comes in before the lockdown, she comes in late, she'll ask him, kumain na ba si John? Ganun yung peg niya. And gugulat yung wife ko na, why ask him if he's eaten? He's a grown man. He can eat for him. You know, he can find ways to eat. And, you know, it just goes to show nga, they just show it in different ways. Which is, you know, you just have to take the good and the bad and so forth.
Correct.
Anyway, sir, so thank you for joining me again, sir.
Thank you. I enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, we should.
at least I can voice out all the heartaches that I've been keeping for so many years.
Well, there'll be more plenty of opportunities. I'm going to invite you in future interviews as well. So,
Sure.
sir, how can people get in touch with you, especially if our audience have any questions regarding family business, or if they have if they need assistance for your consulting business? How can they get in touch with you?
Okay. You can get in touch with me in my email address.
Okay,
It's wlquason
okay,
at yahoo.com.
okay. So
Right?
I'll leave that in
And
the
you
link in
can,
the description below, so everyone can
yes.
contact you.
And you can also send me a message in Facebook.
Okay,
So I usually check my Facebook every day.
okay. So I'll
And I
leave that
also have
link
a
also.
WhatsApp account.
Okay. I can leave that also so that everyone can contact you easily. Okay. Again,
Yes.
thank you so much. I really enjoyed our discussion here.
Thank you. I
Okay.
enjoyed it too.